What's up everyone, this is Tozo, and today I have a special analysis to bring to the community. In this video, I will try my best to answer every question you could possibly ask about tool durability in Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've included a chart that will compile our data as well as a Google document in the description with the countless test results I gathered, so definitely stick around for that. All information found was recorded and discovered by myself after 12 hours of serious testing and over 5 hours of accumulated footage. I will begin by addressing each tool individually with all of their stats. In the end, I'll address some notes that apply to multiple tools, so let's get started. The axe is the first tool we're going to take a look at. So the first question I sought to answer was in regard to what actually takes away from the durability of an axe. To find this out, I tested to get the durability of the flimsy axe as shown here, which ended up being 40 hits. I then tested this on trees that were already hit and then not already hit, rocks that were fresh and not fresh. With the results of all these, I can confirm that you will always lose durability when hitting a tree for the axe, and every hit only takes away 1 point of durability no matter what. However, I decided to use a new flimsy axe 39 times to see what I can use to break it. With this method, I was able to confirm that hitting things like the rocks on the beach, cliffs, houses, furniture all do not cause damage to your axe. Next, I lined up beside a tree to test the durability of the stone axe, which came out to be 100 hits. The next step up for axes is the iron axe, which I hit a rock with instead because otherwise I would run out of trees to cut down. In the end, it turns out the iron axe has the same durability as the stone axe. The only difference is that the iron one will totally cut down the tree while the stone one will let it stand. Next up was the gold axe. I had to sit there and smack this rock for what felt like forever, but it ended up taking 200 hits to break. Because of this, many people have been spreading that all gold tools are double the durability of their iron counterparts, which is actually not true. More on that later, but for now let's move on to the shovel. I started by digging holes around me and hitting a rock with the flimsy shovel. It took 40 hits to break. I proceeded to carry out the same test as I did with the axe, and I found out some really cool stuff. Using a shovel with only 1 durability left, I found that digging holes does not wear down your shovel, nor does patching them back up or burying items. The only way to damage your shovel is by hitting a rock or digging something out of the ground, much like how the only way to damage an axe is by hitting a rock or a tree. For shovels, this includes digging trees out after you've eaten fruit, digging fossils, flowers, any buried item. I can also confirm that all these tasks damage the shovel the same amount, that being 1 durability point. Just like the axe, hitting furniture, cliffs, houses, concrete, anything that isn't a rock or digging up an item will not hurt your shovel. You can even hit a tree so long as you don't have any food in you. Now, the durability for the iron shovel ended up being 100 as well, just like the axe, which brings us to the difficult part. I do not have access to the gold shovel yet, but because everything else so far is the same durability as the axes, we can safely assume that the durability of the gold shovel will be 200. Also, you may have thought by now, what about the customized and outdoorsy tools from the upgraded Nook's Cranny shop? Well, I tested that with the shovel as well, and I can confirm that all customized tools and tools from the shop have the same durability as the iron version of that tool. Anyways, let's move on to a quick one. The Slingshot. There really wasn't much to study about this tool, but figuring out its durability while recording would probably take an entire day. So I went about an alternate method to find out when it breaks. I asked a total of 5 players who claim to have broken only 1 slingshot to tell me how many balloons they've shot down, which can be found accurately on the Nook Miles app. They all have just above 20 and less than 30 balloons shot, as well as one of them having exactly 20 and just had their slingshot break. Therefore, it is safe to say that the slingshot breaks after 20 balloon hits. And of course, I had to go ahead and check if misses count by shooting 50 plus shots in the sky, and sure enough, they do not. Also, note that there is no flimsy slingshot, but there is a gold one, that of course I do not have. So unfortunately, I will have to use an educated guess and say that the golden slingshot will most likely break after 60 balloons. Why do I think 60 rather than 40, which would be double like the axe? Well, this is because of another golden tool that I actually was able to get a hold of. This tool would be the watering can. While it's my favorite tool, figuring out how it works was extremely hard and took about 5 hours since I had no sources to reach from. First, I stood still and kept watering to test the durability of the flimsy can when I finally realized that nothing was happening. At first, I thought that the misses did not count because the can wasn't breaking after 50 waters or so. However, they actually do. Through these tests, I found that the watering can durability functions off of the blocks, and it doesn't actually matter if the flowers are there or not, or even if it's possible to place flowers in that block. You can water a rock or a landmark and it can still hurt your watering can durability. By blocks I mean every chunk of the ground, like a stump, a hole, etc. are all one block. Watered blocks will remain watered for the rest of the day. This means that you can water the same block an infinite amount of times without losing durability. However, if you place an unwatered flower on that watered block and then water that flower, it will hurt your can. If said flower was already watered, then it will not hurt. This is in the game, I'm assuming, to prevent any infinite water exploits. Also note that watering blocks carries over from can to can, just like flowers. When you use an iron watering can, you water 6 blocks in front of you. With the gold one, you water 9. If even just one of those spots from these 2 cans is watered that was not watered already, this will count as a point against your durability. For the flimsy can, you can water up to 20 times. When upgrading to the iron as shown here, you can water 60 times. And now for the gold. It actually lasted for 180 uses, or 3 times the amount of the iron can. This is a huge difference and honestly makes the gold watering can very worth it and probably the most worth gold tool in the game. Let's go ahead and move on to the next tool. The bug net is another quick one that really only took a little while to test. Unfortunately, I don't have the gold version of it yet. To test the net, I went ahead and caught some butterflies. After seeing that the flimsy net broke after 10 catches, I then tried it again to check if the swats you miss harm the net. Thankfully, missing your swats does not harm the net in any way. Testing the iron net took a little bit more time, but in the end I found out that it can handle catching a total of 30 bugs. My educated guess is that the gold net will end up breaking after 60 catches. If not that, then most likely it will be 90 catches. And finally, for the last tool in the spotlight, the fishing rod. Let's go ahead and get the crazy stuff out of the way first. The flimsy fishing rod lasts up to 10 catches maximum, but not always. After another 3 hours of testing this one, I concluded that the size of the fish is the factor that is most likely changing these results. I tried a mixture of tests with different flimsy rods, such as catching all small fish and being able to catch 10, and then going for 5 large fish and having the rod break after 5 catches. With many other tests in mind, I think that there is a cutoff between the large size fish class and the extra large size fish class. Anything in the largest category of fish or above counts as 2 catches or 2 durability points taken away for the flimsy rod, such as the sea bass, while everything below that counts as 1. Other things that I found out from these tests are that miscasts do not count as a use. Pulling the rod in before the fish nibbles or even leaving it after the fish bites will not harm your rod. The only thing that can harm your rod is actually reeling in. Trash like tires and boots also count towards this and will hurt your rod. If you catch a fish with full pockets and have to release it, that will also take away durability points. After finding all of this information, I tested the iron rod. I started by trying to catch 15 sea bass to break it as soon as possible to test my theory, but even with all heavy fish, the iron rod lasted until 30 catches, so I concluded that the iron rod is actually exempt from the fish size theory, so the durability for the rod is the same as the net, while I predict the gold rod will last for 60 catches just like the net. Well, we finally got through all of the tools. I know that was a lot of information to process, but please hang in there just a little bit longer because we aren't done just yet. I would really like to share some tool-wide tests that I completed. To begin, I noticed something since the beginning of playing this game last week, that I never had an axe or shovel break while destroying a rock. So I decided to go ahead and see what was up with this. I knocked an axe and shovel to their last durability point and started hitting a rock. To my pleasant surprise, when you activate the rock timer, your tools actually will not break. As soon as the timer ends, the tools will then break on its next hit. I thought this was actually a really awesome touch. Speaking of awesome, I also ran a test to see if upgrading will refresh your durability. I damaged a flimsy shovel to its last hit and then upgraded it to iron. And it actually works. But the durability party doesn't stop there. Customizing your tool, which sadly only works with iron tools and not gold, will actually reset your durability as well. I think this is a really cool trick and can be very beneficial as you need to only carry customization packs rather than crafting materials. Some final notes I wanted to give are 2 major things that we learned together today. Misses never count as a use with any tool except for a watering can when you water the wrong block. And all actions that cause harm to your tool will hurt it equally each time except for the flimsy fishing rod due to my fish size rod theory. One last time, I'd like to apologize for not having the absolute gold numbers on the document, but it really wasn't worth waiting for all this information to be released. What I can be sure of is that the durabilities I have posted are the absolute max durabilities for sure, and that my really large numbers of tests were all consistent. Anyways, that about wraps it up for this absolutely huge video analysis project. As promised, here's a chart with all of the durability numbers that we learned in this video. This took hours upon hours along with a lot of brain power to create by myself, so I really appreciate it if you could share this video around with the community as well as like and subscribe. Again, be sure to check out the document in the description which has all of the information we went over in this video. I do have to ask though, please share the video instead of the document, as that would really help me out a lot for obvious reasons. I worked very hard on gathering these stats and I plan on doing so a lot more in future New Horizons videos to clear up all the misconceptions out there and inform the community. Thanks so much for watching and I hope to see you back on the channel in the future. Peace.